Team, good. Hi, team. Good to see you. Say, what we're wanting to talk about today is this. I had a play with NanoBanana. I know a number of you have had experience with NanoBanana through Gemini before. There is a really cool video about it that I was watching, and I thought I'd have a go. So, some things that I had to play with. Here we go. This was a blueprint style diagram showing how the Egyptian pyramids were built, labeling the steps for stone quarrying, sled transport, etc., clean lines, vectors, etc., cross sections, arrows, minimal color, architecturally accurate. And look at the detail in it. It's just amazing. Look at that. And again, it's a good wee tool that created this in not much more than about 30 seconds. Great for creating these sorts of infographics. I thought that there was a prompt where you could turn an image into a recipe page, which I thought was quite cool. So I took an image of ramen noodles and put it in, turning it into like a old style recipe book, right? And this is what it came up with here. So, sharing this tab. Yes, good. Right. So this is Grandma's famous saucy noodle. So it looks like one of those old time recipe books, and there's the information there about it. So that I thought that was pretty cool. Then I thought there was a prompt about a hyper-realistic 3D diorama of a landmark. So you might be doing this in a lesson, say, where you're talking about different landmarks around the world, or doing an investigation into a particular country and trying to get something sort of real and 3D-esque. So this was the KLCC buildings here in Malaysia. I mean, again, the detail, it's just fantastic with all the water there, the trees. It looks amazing. The skyline, it's really cool. Then, right, now there was one that they did, and it was a claymation infographic, and they did it to explain to little children about the times of the day. And I thought that's actually quite good for primary school kids, giving them basic information, but in a form that's quite digestible for them. So I went the other way, and I took some information about economics. So I took unemployment, the whole idea of there being different types of unemployment, frictional, seasonal, structural, and cyclical, and thought, well, let's see what it looks like in claymation style. And this is what it came up with. I mean, look at the colors. This is just amazing. Look at the little characters. And it actually illustrates it quite well. I mean, not great necessarily, but good. And what the video did was it then took this image, right, and it put it into another program called VO, and it actually then animated the little characters within it, and they interacted with each other and all of that. That was quite clever that they did that. I'm not up to that speed yet. It did also show how you could create Hollywood-level movie posters. So I guess if you're like an English class, or you're trying to do like Hollywood-type posters for just promotion and marketing, or you're doing it for introducing a topic within your lessons, I think this would be kind of cool. So I did one for the humanities department, and I turned us all into superheroes. I turned us all into cartoon superheroes first, and then I gave them all of those superheroes, and then asked NanoBanana to turn it into an action movie poster. Humanities Assemble, coming to a classroom near you. Now, it didn't quite fit all of the people in, right? We're missing a couple of people. It missed some of the labeling on their chests. Right? There's people here who were missed. And also the spelling got a bit away on it there, just a little bit, which I'm sure is quite possibly because it may have gotten to the point where it wasn't the pro version at that point. It might have been the less than pro version, and in which case, they're probably asking or thinking that I will pay more for the pro version, the one that doesn't have the spelling mistakes in it. Yeah. Behind the scenes movie set view. So what you can do is you can take a little clip from a movie, and this would be really good for like your film studies, your moving image studies, and then you put it in there in that scene, and it shows you behind the scene all of the people working around it with the lighting, etc., and it just makes it a little bit more like a film, like a movie set. So I did the one from Stranger Things because I thought that was kind of cool. So there's Vecna and 11, and you can see all of the people around and the lighting rigs and all the gear, etc., that they're using. I just thought that was really fantastic and a good way to illustrate that sort of movie set idea. Now, this one was incredible. This is about recreating historical events. So what you do is you give it the coordinates of the historical event, all right? Just the coordinates. So there they are. All right, so yes, you look them up on the AI as to what the coordinates are. All right, then the date, all right, that would be good, and time. So I did Black Tuesday, right, which was when the US stock market crashed in the late 20s, 29, right? And it creates an image of what that time was like. I mean, and it does it again in around about 30 odd seconds. It's just fantastic. So recreating historical situations, for history teachers, having an image that is exactly what you want to show the learners. I mean, it's just fantastic. All right. Transforming an empty room into a furnished one. This was a prompt that came up, and it's not really me necessarily, but it was something that maybe if you were doing interior design and those sorts of things would be quite helpful, or teaching the students about interior design, or maybe it's just you want some extra help or inspiration about how to improve your classroom and the layout of it. So I took an empty classroom, an online image of an empty classroom. There it is, right? It's kind of like our rooms, but not exactly that. And then tried to get them to turn it into an amazing economics classroom with a cool design aesthetic. And it came up with this. Way too many computers perhaps facing the wrong way. But it was quite an interesting idea. I like this idea of the big sticker at the back with the information on it. I think that's a really cool thing to do. And maybe something in the future I could look at. Now, a photorealistic infographic illustrating a particular concept in your subject. I've done this for economics, and I thought, well, let's try for another subject. Let's try for IGCSE geography, and let's try about the forces of a tsunami. It's something that I understand that they do learn in geography. So here it is, the tsunami, the unseen power. There's about the generation, and I've checked this with geographers, and apparently this needs to be a bit lower and this needs to be a bit higher, but apparently it's good. It shows you the open ocean, right? The height, the speed change, and then the arrival, right? I mean, and then there's obviously the beach that's about to be devastated by the tsunami. All right. Now, if that wasn't enough, I then thought, what else could we do? Well, a colleague does computing, and they talk about taking apart the computers and seeing the different parts of it. So I thought a mechanical breakdown of an iPhone would be quite interesting for them to sort of see what's inside the iPhone, and I thought that was kind of a good thing to do. So it can do that, right? Architectural infographics of the KLCC towers. Again, if you're doing a particular research about a country, right, within, say, a humanities lesson, and you're wanting this specific information, this could be quite interesting. So there is the towers there, all right, architectural brief. And then turning a headshot into multiple emojis. And I thought this was kind of funny, so I thought I'd have a go. I gave it a picture myself, and it turned me into these multiple emojis that you see here, which I thought would be actually kind of cool, because what you could do is you could turn them into stickers, and then you can put them on the students' work. Maybe I don't know so much about the angry face one, but you could do that, and maybe for the primary school that would be really cool. Here we've got at the primary school, they've got little animals that represent say like resilience, for example, and then you could create those as the stickers, and then stick them on their work to show that this is what they've demonstrated. I think that would be actually kind of a cool thing to do. What else could you do? So just doing a bit of an explore. What about a day in the life historical comic strip? Right, creating a time period that the students can see with the same characters in it over a 4-panel comic strip, and the example was a Roman soldier in 100 AD. And anachronism hunt, which I thought was kind of fun and difficult to say. So you have a historically accurate image, and then you put inside the image, because you can edit the images, you put inside the image things that didn't exist at that time, and then the students have to figure out what the problems with the image are and say why they don't belong there. I thought that was kind of fun. for business studies. So the sort of the Shark Tank idea, right, where you are visualizing a new product, where you're trying to market a product to like a Dragon's Den group of people. Okay, I think that'd be kind of cool. And it can render legible text on 3D objects, and it's branding, and it's all about the marketing, and they'll get to discuss what that should look like, etc., good and bad ones, on all of that. They can also do this. I thought this was kind of cool. Have the idea of A/B testing for global marketing. So they get an existing product image, right, an existing marketing image, and then they use NanoBanana to reshoot it, to change it, to add it into different markets, and then try and compare the two to see which ones are better and have discussions about that. I thought that was really good. Science, there's a lot with regards to science, and apparently things like impossible photography, so things that you couldn't take a photo of, that NanoBanana can just produce, like photorealistic cross sections of a plant cell, right? That's pretty cool. Lab safety with the little claymation figures would be kind of cool. Maths about visualizing word problems, so having the text of the word problem and then turning it into an image so that students can understand what the maths is actually trying to get them to do. PE was an interesting one, maybe having game tactics that are illustrated. So for example, we've got a top-down view of a basketball court showing the players in a 2-3 zone defense so that they can see it, they understand what it is, etc. In the Spanish, right, this was quite an interesting one. So they have to write the prompt in Spanish to generate a particular image, a particular scene, and then the teacher then judges the image based on the prompt and checks whether what they've generated is correct based on the language in the prompt. That was kind of cool. Idiom and art, right? So the idea that there are Spanish idioms, okay, and using NanoBanana to create a literal translation of that idiom, right, versus the more figurative meaning, right? So you get to understand the language perhaps and also see it in use. So I thought they were pretty cool, and that was me playing around with NanoBanana. I thought it was kind of fun. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again next time. Hey, Kōrera, have a fantastic day. Goodbye.